In those distant and wonderful times when our main problem was the bad ending of the Game of Thrones series, and the film universe of Daisy still gave some signs of adequacy and seriousness. Kinobos and Warner, let's discuss the prospects. To attract a preschool audience and increase sales, Mercia is releasing a superhero to the ears in 2019, with the most ingenious plot, according to the rating of film critics, and from the floor number 6, where one Poppy sat on Sir Touch, for thousands of years, from which he caught a cold from the coccyx to the brain, and did not think of burning out of the ashes of the one who came to his temple go soaring, knowing full well that he had come to release from the Modic Holocademons to become a super evil asshole. And because of the character traits of the Figists and the new one, in the old one it was a break to sort out his own jam, and for a long time he did not bother the candidates in the receiver. Using the poke method, he chooses a not very smart teenager and gives him a measurable strength. You are now with an immeasurable power. By what force? Measured. She. Well, she has no measure. And without explaining anything at all, he instants his death, in order to retire to a long-awaited retirement, leaving the youngsters to be responsible for all of humanity. I'm too old for all this shit. Because of such an interesting plot, the kids brought in film studios as much as $365 million, which, with a badge in the stop, is a bit average, but a profit, and the Warners immediately put into production a sequel with a budget of $125 million, adding an important element for writing a script. That is the perfect family movie. According to the main actor, Shazam, Zachary Levi, starts the Sanal fight of the first part of I Am, where a teenager beat Shazam, or rather beat Shizoid, took away a magic staff from Dr. Savan. Because of some Han broke it. I don't even know what might follow, for example. So it turned out, the magic of the staff kept 3 sisters in a magical prison. Wishing, by the way. Now I'm freaking out about Visto. Surprise me. The same humanity as attracted. What would not have happened if I had spent a minute before leaving for Sochi and explained to the teenager that the staff should be protected more than a snack at a student party. But the dumbest thing, from far from the dumbest, was beaten by a schizoid. I also put a Blomke staff, my father's ovals, in the park. They took to their magical treasure, because how can you think that there might be magic left in it, and not enough, someone will find him. Well, I kind of broke it. I threw it away on 2, probably, because of this. Now it's true. I've told a lot of such jerks, with a capital letter P. That's why the old one had to give magic not to a schoolboy, who, but about the POS, which looks like a fake for a 5th grade labor lesson. The local authorities found and placed in the museum as an important exhibit, and the location of which, purely blood Greek women, learned from the scenario radar, and only the mother with the aunt and the former angel Charlie, sucked and slept the remnants of magic, as they begin to infect visitors with rabies through whispering. Dancing is stacked too, and they will replace it at school. The temple is loot. We will shift the tiles in Moscow every hour. The scooters will receive free housing. Under the comedy, she will take a bribe from the Ministry of Culture. And when in a week the whole world would already be Zambox, and humanity is over, as they dream. The aunts themselves stop all this, after which they show that their foreign intelligence service itself, and that it is not liquid to eat. And from something they took that the old one gave his magic to the Red, Senik, Artyom, Katsa Kropu and Kanokos. He is not insignificant himself. In this way he selected the strongest and most educated receivers that Nastia could have. Yeah, now. And here they are. The most educated, Majezoid, who has already turned 17. He still thinks that he is a child and goes to treat his psyche to a pediatric pediatrician. You know I'm a faggot. Who, like everyone else here, is also going. An adult man came to him, and he spends his time on him, listen to his nonsense, and only then gives out that this is not his profile. Once again, I'm not a fucking psychologist. Well, there were people like people, and suddenly everyone immediately became cretins. The breed box. The rest of his half-sisters and brothers, also with developmental delay, transform into heroes right in their home, from which dad has to constantly change his mind. He gets hit by lightning all the time, right? Idiots. But this is a flower, because when rescuers first notice that they lift their buns from the sofas to save people. On the bridge, Cindy immediately begins to squirm in front of the girls. Set aside the Spaniard. Captain All-Powerful is already here, but the cars are held by bumpers, which would immediately come off under the weight. Gifted observes the traditions of her ancestors and steals other people's things. Later, the Chekotiki, they are so cute. Is it a kitten? No. And we black people are cut off. At the same time, there is a rush from a regular accident, but by some miracle, the truck crane managed to break the steel, the beam of the suspension bridge, which calmly struck the Komodovi, holds. And this, saving ordinary onlookers on the bridge in 2023? Are you serious? Yes, this already looked sad 18 years ago in the Fantastic Four. And okay, at least at the same time they showed how the heroes put their abilities into practice for the first time. And all of these were revealed in the first film. In general, while all the clones only gave pantics, Mary alone pulled out all the people under the Flash. 162 lives. Clauditza is my F*T, but put the catch alone. After that, their superheroes just let the bridge collapse and return to the cave, where Freddy shows, what is not enough that I got stuck with my brain in the 90s, thinking that the newspaper story is still relevant. So he's also just finished. Takes them to sleep in his home, throwing newspapers right under his feet. I met them so. I was so pleased with him. But the Chinese went behind one of the magic doors to check, and brought a camshot of some kind of animal. Don't go there. And I didn't even wash off all this substance. Listen to everything, briefin' in Billy. Who does that? For us. Apparently, he is not the first to walk with something splattered. Although, it seems like this, they also have another family member. LG. Yes, we are with Nibro. There's nothing terrible about the fact that you love men. The world is full of gay. In prison, everyone puts a bolt on the brief to the beat. And everyone goes to suffer their teenage bullshit. Then, Billy, of course, is unhappy. Yes, and the combat briefing to her briefing, and the performance on the Arcoman Oi Poleptic. After all, I'm getting bored with the actor, and they didn't explain that if you play a teenager, then you don't have to twitch like under AIDS and bulge your eyes like with constipation. You're overdoing it. Beat the teenager behaves calmly and adequately, but as soon as he transforms into Shazam, he talks complete bullshit and behaves like a rock. That is, a jerk. You're already overdoing it. Apparently, the fee of 3 million is too small to bother and play a schoolboy otak, so that he does not look like a master of steel. Well, the sisters, after politely asking the old one to glue the staff, glue the moment, decide to find all the Shazams and take their strength from them, and they would have been tormented to stroke the dust looking for them. But thanks to Billy, who didn't watch Batman, and doesn't know what conspiracy is, as a briefing, I'm not getting anywhere. I am a simple man. They won't notice me, or they'll destroy me. As a symbol? As a symbol, I will be absolutely not vulnerable. I dare only assume that in the fight against crime, this symbol will provide reliable protection from violence to those who are close to you. And in the first film, Shazam came to school so that his brother would stop being considered flawed, and immediately everyone became aware that this poor guy was familiar with Shazam, and the sisters send in to rub into his confidence, the most Lazenkaya, on which Freddy immediately got everything moving. And since in Freddy's life there was only mom from the girls, one touch is enough for him to fall in love, to Gladalahara on the genitalia itself, go on a date with her, and dump the whole bag of your not funny diarrhea on her, after which any girl would have gone off into the sunset. But love story, interrupts Billy, to whom the old one has already thrown in, was filmed in Goho, so that Tresley and aunts would appear. Pozdavliam Berdak Podrazdachu. So, we have an emergency meeting after school to be like something. But Freddy is no longer thinking with his head, and puts the bolt duties of a superhero. You're such a bedlam, you've decided. No, I am a sister. And while Freddy is changing the salvation of humanity to a ghostly one, Parapian, the rest in the cave are March Pyro Olisum. We need any information about Lance's daughters. You can help us with that. Yes, like two fingers Obosfault Shazat. And Alice pleases them with amazing news. Ha ha ha. Leather I am Bisil. Why the fuck did you let the evil aunts out? And rush you. Because Freddy Girl can only speak for 17 to 14. High phones. Judging by the kind of game he's carrying. Monotonous forms. Yes, and just fly here like a fart. Billy immediately realizes who his girlfriend really is, from whom Freddy's brains are so infected with toxicose, that he turns into a super in front of her. And called Guadalajaro's older aunts. They call him a superhero potency, giving at the same time an important life experience that it is not a good idea to show off your nishtiaks before the first Okiska that comes across. And I don't know where Freddy gets the bodies on the heavy. Loonies easily find him thanks to Alicia. I brought you along the route of a beginner doll. Don't thank me. And when a mother with an aunt could deprive everyone of super potency with a staff for a second, on which Taran Guadalajaru pulls. Apply a focus from a tripod and check how different interacts with reinforced concrete. After that, a tactical regrouping is carried out. We'll fight them when we're ready. When all it took to win was to point a staff at them and deprive them of their strength. Ha, 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 person lick same vient, ha, ha, something that you have not seen. For example, all parts of the movie, Fast and Furious. Do you understand? Handsome, having the opportunity to open doors from the temple to any place on Earth, instead of ringing Superman and dragging him bribed, so that he would already be a problem for the sisters, they decide to score an arrow with their aunts, kidnap one of them and change it to Fredia. Let's match one of them and exchange it already. And the new question, how they uncork the bugs that change the landscape of cities and put up magical barriers, gave them the answer to the mini-Koptimistich. You just have to believe in such things. Well, Alagospravsvasti, the League of the Noble, from the Amanda Waller Ecke, have not yet arrived to sort it out, that the purchase appeared over the city, because the whole crowd was dumped on the farm to Superman, to help him iron his corn. Okay. Settled in, right? But further elaboration from the script went under alcoholic slurs. The Greek chick needs some kind of golden apple, which was once stolen from them by the old one, and they had an infosote from scratch that the apple is in the temple of the old, non-Shazam apartments. That's where such confidence came from. When the black grandfather could have eaten this apple 5,000 years ago, when he celebrated the baptismal Black Adam, and to get to the temple and find an apple, the mother with the aunt decides to give up Shazam, without thinking that, instead of the season, not very homely teenagers, they will simply tie a weight to their feet and to the bottom. It's just logic. And that's up to the plan with a million. If the Babonki thought of it. But not to cauterize Freddy's head. Eggs. Talage. One finger. And when did you become an expert in diplomacy at Tugum? Yesterday. After that, he would run faster than Porvas to show the entrance to the temple of his headquarters. But two millennial aunts are sadists. Just like that. Turning people into sand turned out to be too humane for an interrogation with a passion. A cinematic nursery. And then another proof that the old one chose the wrong person to protect the planet. Belesnaya. That the sisters have a Posoc, who sucks out superpowers, chose to meet from the most open place, so that he could be stabbed in the back with a staff. And when the rest of the Korach arrived, they began to stupidly stick it on the granny, instead of attacking the cold, and catch a predictable pistol in the back, having forgotten that there are actually 3 sisters, and Senya is a Panicha. She only deprived the rear of the drive of superhero potency, and forgetting about the rest, she left memories of her stormy youth, and for what catches PR, tone, and the mother with the aunt, a little about her budget for Graffin on her schizoplan surrenders, and the crazy Bratva commits the most, indeed in the history of world cinema. His mother is a sorceress, bored by modic stylists, one of whom is a telekinetic. Without binding them, they give them to the monkey house and leave without even leaving the observer. Her not becoming what? Because it never occurred to any teenager that it would be like this. Mom, take an ambulance to our blogger on bad. The viewer fucked up a lot. Kanokos foresaw that his brain would not stand on this top film, and wrote Artificial Intelligence, OMS Cataclysm, which will continue the review, made the calibration 3, 4, 3, 2 times. A dirty diver came, drank sweet lemonade and beat those soldiers. Let's continue. And thanks to the foreign intelligence service called, it shouldn't be you at all, mother and aunt, and in a minute from 1,000 worlds, finds the one where the apple is lying. And then thanks to the second intelligence service, I don't have to explain. This is a plus of the director's profession. Poe Bullet also finds the door to his world in a minute from the cave in which he is for the first time and dumps. I knew she'd succumb to us. She wanted to be here. Well, yes, now you can build yourself smart, where you used to be with your intelligence. And now these youngsters, who are psychopathic witches and witches, have returned to Earth. They got both the staff and the apple. They also build themselves super cool, well-trained strategists. This, I call absolutely success. Lovely daughters from standing. Bam. I just came up with it. Not a good candidate. What is happening with today's youth? Ha ha. Millennials, aunts, are also still those strategists. Valuable hostages, from which you can extract useful information. Give us food to the dragon, and it would be now in the world. Over 2 woodpeckers less. But Ms. Glazdalahara has already started a sweet itch under her tunic, having dyed her sobs, and the men are waved away with an escape, and only the old one was happy that he would now return to the cave and call the girls. How all wet dreams are broken off by a mother with an aunt. Didn't you see what was in his hand? It's a golden apple, the strema of life. I am afraid that women can destroy the earth by planting an apple on it. After that, you can forget about girls and visceria. The old ones with a scale begin a special operation. And since the angle of view we see is only 10 degrees, they haven't seen him since Freddy came up to the apple, and everything would have gone with a bang. If Podsane had touched the rack with his Castell, this is what kind of a critic you need to be to forget that you have his mother in your hand. Castile. Yes, how could it be so both? Saw. Are you a freak, walking along the shore girl, eh? Don't you look at your feet? Here it is also announced and Bilishizuit, and immediately turning on the brain for a second, takes away the staff, and then he does it. Oh, why are you doing this? Oh, is it real? Come, walk. Oh, my God, welcome to the world of cinema. What? No, it's not a movie at all. It's just some kind of, and Sin Zim Pinicum catches the paralysis and Freddy listens to the cast to the staff, regains his super heroic potency, and there would be no need to pick up the staff again at super speed. All the idiots just dump, and of course there's no point in asking, why would Billy come here alone? Where are the rest of the relatives? It's AP*T. No, it's not PT yet. It's just a warm-up. Bilishizoi was flying so slowly to the door that Sin Zim Pinicum managed to surprise the dragon and break into their food room. And the idiots? When a dragon can appear in the house at any moment, let's talk to our parents like assholes for a break. Who isn't really? We've been unpacking. Traction. Yes, we know. Borrow. You know? By looking at it, it is guessed from the potency of Caltanujon. This had bizarre. What are we doing now? After that, only 2 questions to the screenwriters. Have you completely jumped off the roadway? Stoned? What nonsense is this? What are you guys smoking here? Everything we can, but not the court. And director David Sundberg claimed that he was tired of superheroes, and she won't take it off anymore. Of course you'll get tired. When you take off such an egg for a year, then you mantle for another 6 months. Postellano video all this and Binarium. And then the full star went again, already lost count of which. Idiots forget that they can fly and start running away with a pawn. And immediately 3 lose their super heroic potency. Well, that's not. How can it be? Bilishizoid throws an apple to the camera so that she takes the dragon away, and he remains standing in place with Ridokami. And Shinzen Penia catches up with the mayor's office, and takes away her power. And while Shizoid was escaping, Strum, and romantically slowly flew her to the others. Shinzen Penika has already planted an apple, from which the shit of the tree has grown, and the muddy freaks have climbed. And now hundreds of people are dying from one dop. A. Who repeatedly creates X asterisk asterisk. It feels like Billy Zoid is working for the sisters. True mother with aunt and Guadalajara. Suddenly they decided to move. I'll tell you that it's much more interesting for Stellix and the internet on Earth than in their measure, where there is not even a showy. But Sinzin is a penis with the gene of a standard Hollywood fuck. There is no stopping it. So it begins to stop the riot on the chap with a motherly aunt. Vodalahara manages to get off, but gets up on the spot and starts sticking Vidali, from which the discharge immediately loits, but so that the decedents do not stay in Fred for the rest of their lives. Shinzin Pinya only took away her strength instead of turning her into dust. The scale of Googly Tuparum, who is better to call to defeat the monsters, and here we don't go for a year, which is better to call. Vaishka Iron Soldiers. Yeah, now. The King of Beasts. Lions? Unicorns. Great. How will you do it? I'd like to know. I'm a gift. Around the first corner, they find a stable of Dino Rogs. And let's be a sly boy, yes, and beastly, as a half-ton beast rushes at her. When a minute ago the old one explained to her that people for Dino Rogs have a snack for lunch. Unicorns are the scariest creatures in their world. They are cruel, ruthless, not at all in your children's books. They are prized by people. Well, the gift just knew that the horse would not dare to touch her if she was thrown from the whale. And we are black people, but gifted. And since Blackleaf Maters operates even in other universes, Idenorogs that have never been tamed, somehow the horseradish for the skill becomes loyal and fighting horses. And the whole family conversed at the top. Drove to bring down monsters, as usual, from ear to ear. It's so much fun if you fall off a horse and break all over. David, it's safe. I assure you. But there is plenty of Zoid. There would be no way to fly up to Shinzin Penihi unnoticed. I'll pick up the staff. I decided to add a ritual agency, more work. Throwing dragons, a skyscraper. However, he did not cause any damage to him. But he killed a hell of a lot of office plankton. And he also started talking shit. Opening up for an attack. I really liked it. How about you? It's lucky that Shinzin Penya is the same idiot. And instead of a superhero impotent spell, let him just feel the dragon's peregrination. Next, he starts throwing fairballs harmless to Red, and he shakes off from them behind the car like an ordinary mortal. Having super speed, he's hopeless. And right there, Billy dumps and rocks his mother with the tamam to find out from her how to destroy the dome, instead of first taking away the staff from Shinzin Penya so that she does not kill people with it. Damn, well, it really feels like this degenerate was brought up by the name of Possumov, although the possums are probably offended now. Then their intelligence was equated to the intelligence of this creature. The scenario radar beat the schizoid finds Granny. You are covered by her electrophoresis. And while the mother is busy with the dome from Totoma, they beat Shinzin Penika to be in the parking lot, which is already done. Nothing stupid scares passersby. And our possum forgets that it came to take away the staff. He begins to snarl at the dragon and carry all sorts of crap, exposing himself to the blow. Some wildly awkward moment for a dragon. For once in my life, I'll close my eyes. The only thing from Valen in her head is working, and he snatches the staff.